Hello guys. Today I'm going to talk about Uhtred, the Last Kingdom, especially the fifth season. The excellent adaptation of Bernard Cornwell's The Saxon Stories comes to an end, as a TV series at least, in a thrilling style. The Last Kingdom has been a bloody joy to watch since 2015 and has always been nothing short of brilliant. Like the seasons before it, The Last Kingdom, Season 5 perfectly blends the history of the birth of England with thrilling entertainment and memorable characters. The Last Kingdom, Season 5 finds Uhtred, son of Uhtred, worrying about his old friend Brida, traveling from Iceland to York. Brida brings along an army of warriors and her daughter, Aesir, to disrupt Uhtred's life in Runcorn as he attempts to care for young Athelstan. Brida's attack disrupts the relative peace in the land and threatens to tear up the idea of a united kingdom that Alfred dreamed of before his death. Through it all, the devious Lord Athelstan is scheming to seize the power of the throne from King Edward for his grandson, and his actions set in motion a battle for the very heart of England, one that Uhtred has to once again play a big part in. As shows like Game of Thrones have shown us, it is often difficult to stick the landing for a successful series. Thankfully, The Last Kingdom Season 5 is able to close the story off by linking back to the various threads that have appeared throughout the show since The Last Kingdom Season 1. The series is at its best when it twists the political intrigue together with personal tales of a man who is trying to find himself and care for those he loves. There is a clear bond between Uhtred and the various people who he has fought with and defended over the years. This makes it even more gut-wrenching when Uhtred suffers a loss, as we can truly feel the pain that he is in after losing a loved one. It also helps that Uhtred is a character whose journey makes sense. He started as a brash, often arrogant but skilled warrior and has developed into a more cautious, truthful man who thinks about the effects that his actions may have on those around him. At one time, he yearned for nothing more than to take back his of Bebbanburg. But in The Last Kingdom Season 5, he cares more about the people he is with than where he is and needs to be conceived by others about the importance of his destiny. The bloody battles are still brilliant, thrilling to watch, and the writing excellently balances the large cast of characters throughout the thin episodes of The Last Kingdom Season 5. One complaint would be that at this point in the series, the age of the characters becomes quite muddled. Uhtred has lived throughout the rise of Alfred's son and grandson, but doesn't appear to be much older than King Edward himself. Elswith has a few scenes with her on-screen daughter and granddaughter, and all the actresses are in their 20s. And this does create a bit of disconnect for the audience, but not enough to run any particular episode, thankfully. However, it would have been an injustice to react any of the actors in the to recast any of the actors in the series, as they are all played to perfection. Yes, they did. From the charismatic lead of Uhtred to my favorite returning Dane Hasted, every performance is played to perfection. How much longer can the heroic Uhtred keep riding to the rescue. 2 years ago, the fourth season of The Last Kingdom, Netflix found the Saxon saga not quite hitting peak possibly reeling from the fallout of the haunting death of King Alfred. Happily, any doubts are blown away with the arrival of Five, in which the show's trademarks of naughty dynastic rivalry, English romantic entanglement, and horrifying eruptions of bloodsureness are all rolling ahead at full blast. Sadly, they say the series will be the last, though a feature film may be in the work. Some things have changed. We are now without Ian Hart's stalwart Beoka, who died a heroic death last time around, but the sturdy underpinnings of Bernard Cornwell's original novels remain. The 10th century Anglo-Saxon world, mostly replicated in Hungary, is depicted as a strange and numerous place, rife with symbols, superstitions, and dark magic. Eric Celtic inflected music enhances the mood of weirdness, echoing back to the dawn of time pictured Timothy. The land looks newborn and not yet fully formed, while the struggle between the Norse gods of the Danes and the Christianity of the Saxons is a fault line always on the point of riding open, with catastrophic potential, as we see when the treacherous Saxon alderman Ethelstan, always seeking new ways to advance his own family's political interests, devises a black-hearted scheme to provoke a religio-racial war in this dump. Foggy Britain, he gets a degree of components when he finds that his own daughter has become collateral damage. But his monstrous scheming doesn't end here. One of the main plot drivers is the eternal rivalry between heroic but star-crossed warrior Uhtred, Alexander Draymond, looking a little sadder and wiser, and Breda, which has been knitted into the saga since its very beginning, both born as Saxons but captured as childhood slaves by the Danes. It's startling to recall that distant time when Matthew Macfadyen played Uhtred's father and ruler of Bebbanburg. They have been through a long and torturous arc, from inseparable friends and lovers to implacable enemies. This time around, an increasingly psychotic Breda emerges with her entourage of face-painted vigilants from the volcanic wastes of Iceland, and sets about slaughtering the populace of York. This is because the city is ruled by Sigtryggr and his wife Stiora, who happens to be Uhtred's daughter. Breda's objective is to erase Uhtred's bloodline in its entirety, along with anybody else who gets in her way. It's the dramatic oppositions which fool the Last Kingdom's formidable grip, risk versus reward, or the heady allure of power balance against what has to be sacrificed to attain it. The Mercian succession looms large in its fifth season, which forces Uhtred to assess how his life might have been changed if his love for her American queen, Athelfield, had been allowed to run its course, and her dynastic duty hadn't forced them apart. The necessity to mark sacrifices for the greater good is explored through her brother King Edward's decisions to overrule Athelfield's choice of successor with a cold-blooded display of force majeure. The setting antique and the characters have names it's impossible to spell. They may do ridiculous things like Uhtred's exasperately lame decisions to let Brida walk away free from the blood path in New York because it was too early in the series to allow her to be killed. That's it. But The Last Kingdom works because it's rooted in unfashionable but indestructible principles of life and death, love and duty, honesty and lies. Time to watch all 5 series from the beginning, perhaps. The Last Kingdom Season 5 is another stunning piece of television. If you like shows with battles, full of grit and blood, with interesting characters that make up a grand historical epic, then The Last Kingdom is as good as it gets. All that is left to finish of the story is a final film titled Seven Kings Must Die. If the high standards of the TV series are met, then we are all in for a thrilling final. Destiny is all. See you next week, next video. Please watch it. Give me your review and what you think about it. Yeah, see you. Destiny is all.